Visit Pokemon Card Market and buy Pokemon cards from base set up to latest evolution set with best prices, secured system and easy handling. Only for European players.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Pokemon TCGO Center. In today's video, we will looking at a deck from the Orlando Regional Championship, the runner-up from the Master Division from Alex Shemansky, so all credits go to him. So I will just basically show up the list and say a few things about it and do a quick review about it. So as you can see here, he played a Vileplume Toolbox. Basically, Vileplume is 130 HP grass Pokemon with irritating pull and ability, which says that each player can play any item card from his or her hand. So basically, the main focus about going on with this deck should be to set up turn 1 Vileplume and basically depend on your opponent active Pokemon or deck to set up in active spot either way Mew or basically Glaceon or Jolteon, but pretty much Mew EX because it can copy any kind of attack with the necessary energy cost. So basically to have Mew in the active spot and either way Jolteon or a Glaceon or even a Regis on the bench, so you can basically lock your opponent without being able to actually deal any damage to you. So that's pretty much a whole thing about this deck. So if your opponent plays just a pure basic deck, for example, Dark Rage Giratina or Yveltal Fright Knight, you should probably just search your deck for the Jolteon EX and use that Flash Ray so you can one-hit knock out your opponent Yveltal, so you can basically prevent them from being even able to actually attack and damage your Jolteon, because you have that Flash Ray effect of the attack, which says that during your opponent's next turn you can prevent all damage done to Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. The same thing will go actually for the Glaceon Crystal Ray 70, and your opponent's evolution Pokemon are not going to be able to do any damage to Glaceon. So if you have Mew in active spot, that's pretty good because you can just control what your opponent will play, what your opponent will do to attack. You can easily do whatever you want, and basically how the bench and the play should look like. So basically you should probably have one Vileplume on your bench, probably one or two Shaymins, one Manaphy, so you can have that free retreat, and basically either way Glaceon or Jolteon, depend on what you need against your opponent. That's pretty much gonna be it. So you should just strike with your Mew EX and copy those Crystal Rays, Flash Rays, or even Resistance Blizzard if you will need. And basically, since your opponent will not be able to play item cards, he'll probably have just the one or two Lysanders to use and maybe one Ranger. That's pretty much it he can do. If you can set up turn 1 item lock with the Vileplume and find that very important Rainbow Energy and turn 2 Double Colors Energy, you're ready to go. You don't need to do anything else because your opponent will not be able to do anything else. So the deck actually will have free retreat as long as you have Manaphy in play with the Aqua Tube. So each of your Pokemon that has any water energy attached to it will have free retreat. So even if your opponent can Lysander or Vileplume, you don't have to worry too much. You can just attach either way water energy or Rainbow Energy on your Vileplume and be able to retreat back on your Mew EX and finish the start the job with the damage. So as you can see right there, only 10 item cards in this deck. Probably this is the deck with the, I guess the less trainer item cards that you can probably find in a current standard format. So 2 copies of a Level Ball, 4 copies of Ultra Ball, and 4 Trainer's Mails. More than that, also 4 different supporter cards, but actually 12 supporter cards in total. But we'll just get later to those supporter cards. So let's just check a full Pokemon list. So there are 24 Pokemons, which is a lot of Pokemons and actually a lot of different Pokemons. So the first one is on the list Lugia EX. Lugia EX makes a lot of sense because 170 HP, okay, it's a decent HP. Of course, Aero Ball, it's a very good attack. I mean, you can strike with double Course Energy for 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. So you can easily strike for 80 if your opponent have double Course Energy or even more. So basically with the Lugia EX in play, you should probably be able to one-hit knock out your opponent Mega Mewtwo without any problem, but probably you should just stick with that one-hit knockout, because he can easily use damage swap. So you really need something like Lugia EX to respond to those annoying Mega Mewtwo's, because if Mega Mewtwo will have 3 energies in play, and if you will have, for example, double Course energy and 1 more energy attack on your Mew, that's 6 energies, and you can go with Arrow Ball for 240, which will be enough for the knockout. 5 energy, unfortunately, will not be enough, because that will be just a 200, and you will be short for 10. But also, Deep Hurricane is a very strong attack, because you can go for 150, and if there's a Stadium card, basically, if there's a Stadium card, this attack will do 70 more damage, and then you will be forced to discard the Stadium, which is definitely good, especially in those Mega Mewtwo matches with the damage swap ability. So you should definitely worry about that. But as you can see, Mew can easily strike for the weakness, so that shouldn't be a problem. 3 copies of Shaman was here on the list, pretty much reasonable for setup. It's all about turn 1. Possibility to hit Vileplume. Later in game, if you have 2 Shamans on your bench, you can easily substitute them with a Ninja Boy for any other basic Pokemon in that moment that you need. So Shaman can easily be used for the setup turn 1, and later it can easily change something with a Ninja Boy. For example, a second Jolteon, maybe Jirachi, maybe Majournia, Glaceon, Manaphy, Regis, whatever you need in the game. A line of the 3-3-3 Arish, Glum, and Vileplume. So just to be 100% sure that you can hit that irritating Pullen ability in Vileplume turn 1 with 4 copies of Force of the Giant Plant, it's very, very important. It's all about this deck. That's the whole skeleton about this deck. So without Vileplume, you should probably lose the matchup. But with the Vileplume turn 1, you're ready to go, that's for sure. 2 copies of Jolteon. Same as 2 copies of pretty much Mew, Glaceon, and Regis. Makes a lot of sense just in case one of them are priced. 2 Jolteons. The first attack is actually a Swift, which is not that good, but the second one is the attack that we want to take a look. So basically, Flash Ray is a very powerful attack. The most important thing about Jolteon is that he also has free retreat, so even if you start with it, you can just easily retreat on the bench. Flash Ray will strike for 70 and prevent your opponent from being able to attack and damage your Jolteon, but also it cannot prevent damage swap. So that's a huge thing and huge disadvantage about Flash Ray. But on the other side, you can easily lock up your opponent basic Pokemon for being able to attack you. On the other side, Stardust Jirachi can help us a lot. Why? Well, let's just say that our opponent go first, and he managed to attach Double Dragon Energy into Giratina EX. Giratina EX is in the active position, and basically, what do we need to get rid of that Double Course Energy? We don't have Enhanced Hammer, we don't have anything. There's no Team for Ground. We can just easily put Jirachi on the bench and easily use Stardust and basically discard special energy. That this special energy can easily be discarded from our opponent Giratina EX, so he's not going to be even able to attack next turn, which is just amazing. So we can easily do that, for example, with the Mew versatile ability and copy it with just a single Rainbow Energy. Then we have Majournia EX. So basically, Mystic Heart ability is a very powerful ability. It's a very good for this deck, especially against Mega Caesar, because if our opponent have Mega Caesar in play, he can easily he was able actually to prevent all effects of your opponent attack. So basically, he was able to prevent Mega Caesar's effect of the attack to get rid of our Double Course Energy or Rainbow Energy or Stadium from play. So that was definitely a huge bonus. So definitely Majournia EX was a good call. But also Soul Blaster is a decent attack for 120. I mean, it's definitely good. If you need to finish the game for 120, you should definitely use it, because again, as I mentioned, with the 1 Rainbow Energy and Double Course Energy, you can pretty much copy any of your Pokemon attacks and play almost to Vileplume, but you need for that 2 Rainbow Energies. In addition to that, of course, Mew EX. Mew EX and Vileplume, those 2 cards are actually a skeleton, so the head and the bones for this deck. Basically, Mew EX should be always in the active spot, as long as your opponent cannot play Hex Maniac or those annoying Garbodors with the tool. But yeah, pretty much you can copy any attack and play that you really need, and basically you can just use Rainbow Energy and Double Course Energy and you're ready to go. 2 Glaceon EXs, 170. Second Bite is a very powerful attack. Probably a lot of people, even myself, didn't notice how Second Bite actually is good. I was always reading that Crystal Ray and during your opponent next turn you can prevent all damage done to blah 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 from evolutions, but the Second Bite actually is even stronger. I mean, you can strike for 20 plus 10 more for each damage on your opponent active Pokemon. So that's just amazing. Basically, if we strike once our opponent Pokemon for the 70, next turn we can strike for like a 90, which is pretty good. I mean, it's definitely good. If we need to finish the game by knocking out, for example, our opponent with 240, 50 HP, depending on how many he has, we can twice Crystal Ray in third time use second bite. But probably we should just stick with the Crystal Ray just to be 100% sure that our opponent will not be able to damage us next turn, because losing Pokemon in turn is very dangerous. We just need to constantly be able to lock our opponent from being able to play tools, item cards, and even dealing damage to us. So one mana fee is just here for the retreat, as I mentioned with the Aqua Tube, but even if you find yourself in trouble, sometimes you can use Mineral Pump with 2 Rainbow Energies. 2 copies of Regis also, a very good card, as I mentioned it. Resistance Blizzard can actually prevent all effects of attack, including damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX, which means only one thing. With Regis on the bench, we can strike Mega Mewtwo for 140 and basically prevent him from being able to damage swap. He can damage swap definitely, but basically our new EX will be untapped, which means that he can just get rid of all damage counters if he has Stadium in play. But next turn we can again strike for 140, and basically he's not going to be able to attack us. So that's the reason why Regis make a lot of sense. And then pretty much we finish the Pokemon line. So moving on to the item cards, as I mentioned, 2 level balls just for those Oddish and Glums to be able to easily find them. 4 trainers mails, of course, to look at the top 4 cards and pick any trainer card that you can find there. 4 copies of Ultra Balls, so basically to grab any Pokemon that he really needs. And yeah, pretty much 4 Ultra Balls, Shaymin EX, draw more cards, Ultra Ball, Shaymin EX, draw more cards, and stuff like that, and just go with that over and over again. Then from supporter cards, 2 copies of Lysanders, just because one is good, but with the lock deck, like the item lock, 2 Lysanders also makes a lot of sense, because we can easily snipe some of our opponent benched Pokemons with double Lysander. 4 copies of N, very important card, because it can always break your opponent from winning position down to losing, especially if he's down to like 1 or 2 prize cards. You can easily just play N, throw the N on the table, smile to your opponent's face, force him to draw 1 card, put Vileplume in play, item lock him, and just use Crystal Ray, Resistance Blizzard, or whatever you need, Flash Ray, and just disable your opponent completely. Yeah, pretty much 2 copies of Ninja Boy, as I mentioned it. You can pretty much swap any Pokemon, basic Pokemon to another basic Pokemon. You just need to have that Pokemon in your deck. But yeah, as I mentioned, it's a very good card, because you can easily substitute Shaymin EXs for any other card later, which is just amazing. 4 copies of Professor Sycamore, this card, hand draw 7 card, pretty much very reasonable. And then from the Stadium card, here run, of course, 4 copies of Force of Jumpland. I also saw in a couple versions of this deck 4 copies of Force of Jumpland and 1 copy of Pearl City. Pearl City also makes a lot of sense, because it can help you to get rid of some unnecessary stuff on your bench, like Shaymins and stuff like that. But trust me, sometimes even it's better to play Ninja Boy and substitute your Shaymin EX with something else, because later, when your opponent maybe ends you and you get Shaymin, you can just draw more cards and basically get rid of that hand with that N, for example. And of course, 12 energies in total, 4 double chorus energies, 4 rainbow energies, which will actually provide any other energy type in play, but when you play it, you will get 10 damage counters, very important. And of course, 2 water energies. So basically, with 2 extra water energies, he was able to have 6 water energies in play, and more and more options and chances to retreat Vileplume, just in case he's stuck with him in the active spot, because just Mana Fee and Water Energy will provide him enough resources to be able to retreat in case he's stuck with something like a Vileplume in active spot after opponent Lysander. But yeah, pretty much that was the Master Division finalist or runner-up, second place, Alex Szymanski deck profile from the Orlando Regional Championship this year. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this short deck list analysis. So make sure to subscribe to the channel for more future videos. As usual, if you have any questions, don't forget to leave comments below. Till the next time, have a nice day wherever you are, and we'll see you in the next video. So goodbye.